Howdy, y'all. I'm Brylan. Now, I have gotten countless comments from viewers asking to see Shire again. Oh, there she goes. Okay, there you go. Cancel every single media contract. Trump takes strong action after shocking Doge findings. Now, I gotta be real, this is gonna be a wild video, okay? We're going to take a look at Trump literally canceling all media contracts, and we're also gonna do a deep dive into another insane government money laundering scheme that was just revealed. And I'm going to show you the rabbit hole here. This is insane stuff. We're also going to look at this thread by Liz Wheeler, who uncovered every single government agency that was a part of this scheme to pay off the mainstream media to push their radical agenda. We're also going to look at this official report that shows exactly what media outlets in other countries our government was using our money to fund to, again, push their radical agenda. And then I'm going to show you this absolutely fantastic reaction from Ron Paul to all of these scandals going on within our government. And then I'll top it all off by showing you the reaction from the radical left, the Democrats, to everything that the Trump administration is exposing about them. Hey, would you consider hitting that thumbs up button? You know, when you like this video, you're not agreeing with the insanity, but you're helping push this video out to more people to help spread the truth. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button to get daily videos to stay up to date with all the current news. So Trump is canceling all media contracts. It's about time. Trump has ordered the General Services Administration to terminate all media contracts. Now, this is wild. You know, seeing all these conspiracy theories being exposed as reality is just what. Now, we all know that our government and the elites in the system is corrupt. But to just see exactly what's getting exposed right now, it's just a wild time to be alive. The Trump administration on Thursday ordered the General Services Administration to cancel every single media contract by the end of the day. GSA team, please do two things, the email says. Pull all contracts for Politico, BBC, yeah, we're going to get into that in just a second. E&E and Bloomberg, pull all media contracts for just GSA. Cancel every single media contract today. It's unclear how many subscriptions GSA was paying for, but the agency, which manages federal property and technology services for the federal government, has about 12,000 employees. If this is anything like USAID was giving these media outlets millions upon, in fact, I'm going to show you the exact amount of millions in just a second. It's much higher than what is being reported right now. Elon Musk says the New York Times is government-funded media. It 100% is. What other countries have government-funded media? I'll give you a hint. None of the free ones. Treasury leadership verified that their New York Times contracts were canceled today. Good. Get rid of them. In fact, look at this clip on Fox News where they're talking to Rubio about him taking over USAID.
You're now the head of USAID. The head of Doge, Elon Musk, called USAID a criminal organization and added that it is time for it to die. Do you agree with that?
They have basically evolved into an agency that believes that they're not even a U.S. government agency, that they are a global charity, that they take the taxpayer money and they spend it as a global charity, irrespective of whether it is in the national interest or not in the national interest. One of the most common complaints you will get if you go to embassies around the world from State Department officials and ambassadors and the like is USAID is not only not cooperative, they undermine the work that we're doing in that country. They are supporting programs that upset the host government for whom we're trying to work with on a broader scale and so forth. So they're completely unresponsive. They just don't consider that they work for the U.S. They just think they're a global entity and that their master is the globe and not the United States. And that's not what the statute says, and that's not sustainable.
You know, I said this in my last video about USAID, which is called USAID is more dangerous than you can imagine. But one of the most disgusting and just insanely deceptive tactics from USAID is look at their logo. USAID. They have a budget of like $50 billion, which is more than the CIA and almost, in fact, USAID, their budget is almost as big as the entire intelligence agency combined. In fact, here's just some of the stuff that USAID would fund in other countries. This is from Caroline Levitt here.
USAID over the past several years, these are some of the insane priorities that organization has been spending money on. $1.5 million to advance DEI in Serbia's workplaces, $70,000 for a production of a DEI musical in Ireland, $47,000 for a transgender opera in Colombia, $32,000 for a transgender comic book in Peru. I don't know about you, but as an American taxpayer, I don't want my dollars going towards this crap, and I know the American people don't either, and that's exactly what Elon Musk has been tasked by President Trump to do, to get the fraud, waste, and abuse out of our federal government.
So this aid organization is using your money to essentially spread DEI, LGB, TWAN, all the things throughout the entire world. You are personally paying to have other countries essentially indoctrinated into this depraved social justice warrior DEI garbage.
Can it be reformed or does it need to die?
Well, that was always the goal, was to reform it. But now we have rank insubordination. Now we have basically an active effort where their basic attitude is we don't work for anyone. We work for ourselves. No agency of government can tell us what to do. But they're completely uncooperative. So we had no choice but to take dramatic steps to bring this thing under control.
Now, this goes much deeper than USAID just spreading DEI, LGB, and twansing every country on earth by bribing them or threatening them. But as you've most likely heard, USAID and as well as multiple other government agencies, I'm going to show you who they are in just a second, has been funding the mainstream media. But I'm going to show you how this came to light just a couple of days ago. But I'm going to show you all the updates on the information that we have now. It's going to blow you away.
So upon coming out here to the briefing room, I was made aware of the funding from USAID to media outlets, including Politico, who I know has a seat in this room. And I can confirm that the more than $8 million taxpayer dollars that have gone to essentially subsidizing subscriptions to Politico on the American taxpayers' dime will no longer be happening. The DOJ team is working on canceling those payments now. Again, this is a whole of government effort to ensure that we are going line by line when it comes to the federal government's books. And this president and his team are making decisions across the board on, do these receipts serve the interests of the American people? Is this a good use of the American taxpayers' money? If it is not, that funding will no longer be sent abroad, and American taxpayers will see significant savings because of that effort.
Right on. You know, you've always wondered, like, how can the mainstream media be so out of touch with the American people? It's because there's hundreds of millions of dollars involved being paid out from our own government to the mainstream media to push their radical agenda to have more control over the American people. We also saw how former acting CIA director Mike Morrell told ex-Intel officials they should sign the Hunter Biden laptop letter so that they could give Joe Biden a talking point to use in the 2020 debate versus Trump. Now, if you want to know why Trump has been the next Hitler and the most racist person on earth, isn't because they actually believe this or because he's actually doing things that are racist or Hitler-esque, but it's because they are making millions upon millions upon millions of dollars from the elites and the bureaucrats within our government to lie to you about all of this. Now, this is wild. The political scandal is far worse than you think. This is a thread by Liz Wheeler. Look what was uncovered here. This is incredible. It's not $8 million that Politico received from USAID. It's $34.3 million that Politico has received from various swampy federal government agencies. Politico is, without a doubt, a totally corrupt propaganda arm of the swamp. Well, perfectly said there. But you can see here, usaspending.gov. Look at this, Politico LLC. Total awarded amount, $34.3 million. She goes on, notice when Politico started receiving bulk payoffs from the federal government. The money started flowing to Politico in 2015, the same year Trump descended that golden escalator. Then the payoff skyrocketed under Biden. Who paid off Politico? A veritable laundry list of the most corrupt federal agencies. HHS, Department of Education, Department of Agriculture. Look at this. Receipts, awarding, all of them here. Another reason to abolish the Department of Education. As if you needed more reasons for the Department of Education to be abolished, go watch my video I just put out. The evil Department of Education is over. She goes on, peep the sub-agencies specifically that paid off Politico. The FDA, the EPA, the CDC. This is wild stuff. No wonder the propaganda from Politico was in perfect alignment with the swamp on stories of critical national significance. Politico propagated lies that Hunter's laptop wasn't real. We all remember that. A vicious lie that changed the outcome of the 2020 presidential election. Look at this. USAID tax dollars subsidize mainstream news outlets in America. $34 million to Politico, $50 million New York Times, $19.5 million Associated Press, $9 million Reuters, $220,000 from the Department of State just last year, as well as, look at this, BBC, British government TV received almost $3.5 million of American taxpayers' money. BBC Media Action, a charity tied to the BBC, received $3.3 million from USAID in 23 and 24, making the U.S. agency one of its top donors. Not only is our government essentially funding the entirety of mainstream media to push their radical left agenda and lie to Americans and indoctrinate Americans, and not only are they funding BBC, the British news, 90% of UK media is funded by USAID. Listen to what Natalie Winters has to say.
But here's where it gets really dark. Because right now, Ukraine, there's reporting 9 out of 10 media outlets in Ukraine are funded by USAID. Otherwise, they would not exist.
Wow.
That's the Ukraine foreign minister's own words, not mine.
Wow.
Norm Eisen has been screaming in the Brookings Institution and the mainstream media. There's a piece we can put on screen. Quote, investigative journalism is essential for Ukraine reconstruction and anti-corruption. They have used the weaponization of journalism through USAID and all of these foreign countries, not to expose or dox autocratic leaders, but to defend themselves and be the Praetorian Guard for the corrupt activities that they've been engaging in, because they want the concept of controlled opposition. They don't want the audits. They don't want actual reporters who are going to be digging in to the I guess it's now just $77 billion, but what was nearly $200 billion in aid. They want to be controlling the journalists, controlling the messaging, and USAID has been the platform through which they've done that, just like they tried to control President Trump with the first impeachment. But now they know Ukraine audits are probably coming. That gravy train's ending. So they are in full-blown meltdown and panic, because they know that they're not going to be able to control the narrative.
In fact, here's the official report. Trump's foreign aid freeze throws journalism around the world into chaos. Good. Look at this. USAID, the main donor for Ukraine media, where 9 out of 10 outlets rely on subsidies and USAID is the primary donor. Several media have already announced suspensions of their activities. Are we supposed to feel bad? Like, are we supposed to read something like this and feel anything? I mean, besides the joy that USAID got caught and the righteous indignation and just anger that you feel towards these people. This is wild too. Look at this. The risk of this suspension of the money is that it could open the door to other sources of funding that may seek to alter the editorial line and independence of these media. Is that oh my goodness. What they're trying to do is make it sound like if USAID doesn't fund these media outlets throughout the world to push their radical left agenda, then other people will fund those media outlets to push their agenda. And we can't have that, so we must continue using taxpayer money to fund these media outlets to push the radical left agenda. Yeah, it all makes sense. So here's a clip of Rand Paul reacting to this. He posted this on X. Ron Paul said, "A look behind the curtain has revealed a horrific truth. Nearly the entire mainstream media worldwide has been funded by the U.S. government under the USAID. From the BBC to the New York Times and Politico. At this point, it might be easier to find out who USAID has not funded in the media sphere." And then check out this clip from Ron Paul on, I believe it's his podcast, where they're reacting to this post by President Trump. This is what Trump's post says. "Looks like billions of dollars have been stolen at USAID and other agencies, much of it going to the fake news media as a payoff for creating good stories about the Democrats. The left-wing rag, known as Politico, seems to have received $8 million. He said this could be the biggest scandal of them all, perhaps the biggest in history. The Democrats can't hide from this one. Too big, too dirty." And this was the response by Ron Paul.
I don't like it being put in partisan terms because I do think there are plenty of Republicans who are interventionists who would agree with this as well. Nevertheless, this could be one of the biggest scandals in history.
You know, I like it when Trump mentions words like, "this is stolen," you know, and that's what's happening. But there's two steps in the stealing. He's saying it's stolen from USAID, but where are USAID get a lot of this money? It's from the taxpayer.
Exactly.
When they take it from the people, that's why taxation is theft. And in this case here, one group of government agencies and other pseudo-government agencies to control speech and control the media in order to promote more of this nonsense and more of the wars or whatever they're after, more COVID and more Ukraines. So
Yes.
This is evil.
Absolutely 100% is it evil. I thought that was very well said by Ron Paul there. He makes great points. And, you know, I want you to see those who are in our government that hate you as an American citizen. Look at this. Trump administration has been sued over plans to place thousands of USAID workers on leave. So now the system is suing the Trump administration because they've been caught. And they claim that it has generated a global humanitarian crisis by abruptly halting the crucial work of USAID employees. So this is disgusting to watch them just blow hot air like this. And of course, the left, Democrats, are flipping out about everything that is coming out about the government corruption. Gee, I wonder why.
Are we gonna fight the fight? Are we gonna win the fight? Are we not gonna rest till we win? We cannot allow Elon Musk and a small group of people to secretly, behind closed doors, take away our privacy, take away our dollars, take away everything we have. We are gonna fight this fight. I am going to stand with you in this fight, and we will win.
Essentially, what he's saying here is we will not let the will of the American people stand. We will fight against them. Schumer, one of the most corrupt politicians in our government. You could tell he's terrified. They're finding out everything. And they're taking away our money. They're taking away their money, which is your money that they're taking to push their radical agenda throughout, well, all of mainstream media in America, all of the mainstream media throughout the world, and they're using your money to spread DEI and their radical social agenda, LGB, TWAN, all the things. They're using your money to push that throughout the entire world. And then using and weaponizing the mainstream media to lie to you about all of it. And he's sitting here scared as a dog. Look at him, tail between his legs, screaming at the top of his lungs, "We will fight. We will fight you America. I just want to encourage you with this verse from James chapter 1. Look at verse 5. If any of you lacks wisdom, let him ask God, who gives generously to all without reproach, and it will be given him. But let him ask in faith, no doubting. For the one who doubts is like the wave of the sea that is driven and tossed by the wind. For the person must not suppose that he will receive anything from the Lord. He is a double-minded man, unstable in all his ways. You know, it's easy to forget. It's easy to get caught up in our own minds, and we forget that we can go to the God of the universe, the creator of the heavens and the earth, and we can ask him to give us the wisdom that we lack. Even if you don't think you lack wisdom, you should probably be asking for wisdom more than anybody. So be in the Word of God and